and come back in. It's important because at that point you can access the chat, you can put questions in there, and we're going to try to address them today. Now, the purpose of this meeting is really to connect you, to allow you to begin to build a professional and a personal network before you even come to campus. We want to connect you with current students. We want to connect you with our amazing alumni. It's an opportunity for you to ask questions. But most of it is to connect you, right? So if you have other questions that we don't get to, you can still put them in the chat. Jana's going to help us out with that if it's something that's more logistics oriented. Either way, we're going to try to kind of cover a pretty broad range of subjects here. Let Jana introduce herself for a couple of seconds, and then we will go straight to our very special guests.
Hi, everybody. I hope that some of you have gotten an email either from me or somebody on my team, but we are International Student Success. Well, technically support, but we're here to make sure you're successful. I recognize a few names. I know a few of you guys have been on some of our webinars, but it is our job, but more importantly, our pleasure to help international students, regardless of where they're coming from or how long they're in a program, whether in an exchange, all the way up through PhD, post, all of it, right? It's our job to make sure that you're supported outside of the areas of admission, academics, and immigration, because there's teams and experts on those areas, but then everything else is kind of like, who do I talk to? How can I get assistance with that? That's my team. That's our job. And so, like, if you are an incoming student and you're like, I have questions, I need to know how to do all these different things, hopefully we've helped you in that journey. Once you're here as a student, we have an entire center. We have a game room. We have a lot of study facilities located in our center. We have lots of activities that occur and happen there. We also have a lot of support. So, like, when you're here, if something happens to you and you're like, I don't know who to talk to, you're gonna come talk to us. Whether it's a good thing, like, hey, I got an award and somebody can somebody take my picture? I love doing that. I love showing up and hyping somebody up and taking their picture and making sure that mom and dad get that photo. And then sometimes we have to show up when bad things happen, right? Something bad occurred to you, whether it was a crime, you're in the hospital, something has happened and you need some type of support. Again, that's my team. It may not specifically be us that's showing up for that support, but we're going to connect the right experts on campus to get to you to make sure that you have that support that you need so you can be successful moving forward. I will drop lots of information in the chat with a few little tips as we move along, but thank you guys so much for letting me crash your network party.
Thanks for being here, Jana. You're always such a big help. Everyone always remembers Jana. We have students signing on that have been here for a different degree, and they just, always remember Jana and how amazing she is. So, um, let me tell you a little bit about USF Network the Caribbean. But first, I'm going to let our two special guests who have graciously given their time to come and welcome you and encourage you and to give you advice. So first, I'd like to invite, is it Kayan, or how do I pronounce your name? I'm sorry.
That's fine. It's KN.
Kayan. And Bianca. Kayan is one of our amazing alumni. She's here to share her experience with you. And then we have Bianca, who is a current student. So let's start with you, Kayan, if you don't mind saying a few words about yourself, where you are, and then I have two initial questions for both of you, and that is, how did you end up at USF? And what were your very first impressions, in the first few weeks on campus?
Sure. So to begin, a bit about myself. I'm KN Clark. I am a Jamaican. And we're not doing that well in the Olympics this year, but that's fine. I'm happy for St. Lucia. um, um, so I'm now a postdoc as a postdoctoral fellow at Johns Hopkins University. And I'm doing the fellowship in environmental epidemiology there. So I started out at USF, started in '09, and my first impressions. So how I got there, my brother and my sister, my older brother and sister, they went to USF, and so I just thought, hey, why not try to apply and see if I get in? And so I got in, and they were my support system there. Um, but also once I was there, I got connected to other Caribbean communities, and I suppose we can talk about that a bit later. I won't get into it right now. But my first impressions, the first couple weeks, I thought it was a big school. I love the palm tree. I love the setting. I thought it was a really beautiful campus. I didn't get to do orientation, so my first week was the first week of classes. And so it was a bit overwhelming too, because it was the first time being in a class with hundreds of students, like an auditorium style classroom. So it was a mixed bag of emotions. I was happy, I was nervous, I was anxious for the first week. And but you know, it turned out to be a great time. I met lifelong friends there, and it definitely was a great foundation for me to start my academic career, and it's helped me to be where I am today.
Thank you so much. Bianca, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Nice to meet you guys. Hello, my name is Bianca Lanu, and I am a Haitian American student at USF. So basically, I'll answer the questions while I'm introducing myself, since that's probably best. So how did I end up at USF? I ended up at USF because I am actually a legacy. My mom and dad went there, and my brother went there for a year. So I applied out of high school, and I was admitted as a biology major, because my parents originally, encouraged me to pursue health. And so, my first impression of the school was, I loved being independent and kind of figuring out things for myself as I went along. My roommates were like my first group of friends, so they made it more comfortable for me. And I felt very safe on campus. I loved the nature aspect. It was like very comfortable for me. So that was my first impression and how I felt coming in. As for, let's say, classes and all that, um, it it was a little bit hard for me to adapt to, but I found other people that were in my major and who were taking the same classes, and we used to do homework together. So that's what kept me consistent. Um, Other than my life at USF when I first came in, I think that my first semester I wasn't involved, and then my second semester I got more involved in organizations, and I'm still involved in organizations as a senior. I was first involved in the Caribbean Cultural Exchange organization, and I was the public relations chair running their social media. So I got to just have a great time with them, and I was involved in other orgs too, just being extroverted, just being out there. And eventually I kept meeting more and more people, which is why now I'm so good at like networking and talking to people and things like that. So I'll elaborate with that later on, but yeah, that's my story so far.
Thank you. Yes, we're definitely going to go back to being engaged on campus and things like that. But since that you guys are talking about majors and what you studied, I'd love to hear from the crowd. You could turn on your mic or you can drop something in the chat. Well, what are you majoring in? It's a great opportunity to connect with other people who might be in those classes, or for people who can kind of let you know what next steps might be. So if you want to drop your major in the chat, we can check that out. I'll go ahead and jump into the groups since you brought that up. Jana, do you want to say a few things about the opportunities on campus to be engaged in the groups that we have?
Sure. So we have Bulls Connect, which is a really great resource. There's over 600 active clubs and organizations. Technically, there's like 800 listed, but in the summer, it's hard to tell who's active and things come and go. But it's a really great thing. I will drop a link here in just a minute to where you can already go in and sign in using your USF credentials to access it and start joining those clubs. You can go and find something that's pertaining specifically to your culture, your region, your religion, your interests. Like if you are interested in anything, we probably have a club for it. I kid you not. I believe it's still active, but we had a Harry Potter Quidditch club where they played Quidditch. And that was an active club. And so, I mean, there's things for anybody, everybody, and the intramurals and everything else. There's nothing that we don't have. It's really weird. We're really, really big, but at the same time, and I would hope the other students on the call would agree, it still feels like a small community. Like it's still very family. You still know people, and so you you can't get lost in the crowd. You can't just kind of hide. You get found, people know you, you connect pretty easily. So it's pretty awesome that way.
Okay, thank you. So, Kayan, I'll start with you on the same theme. In terms of being engaged on campus, how were you engaged on campus, and what tips do you have for our students about the importance of, putting themselves out there and being active?
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, I had my two older siblings at USF before I got there. And so they were my gateway into being engaged. So whatever clubs they were in, I would just join that club. Um, and so one of the big clubs was Caribbean Cultural Exchange. And so my first year there, I, was just participating because I was also very focused on getting my classes straight before I dove into any um, like a role or anything on an executive board. And so my sophomore and junior year, though, I was a secretary for CCE, and yeah, it was a good time. It was good to know how an executive board works and how I contributed to the weekly activities for the club. Um, uh, that was really my main outlet. However, my sister started a netball club. It didn't, I don't think it lasted, but I got to see how, you know, how to start an organization because any anyone can start an organization. You just have to go follow the steps. So if you see or if there's an activity or a club or a group that you don't see on campus and you're like, I wonder if I could start this. Yes, you can. It's all possible. Just go through the right steps, fill out the paperwork, and then you can have your e-board and get that all started. So I was a part of starting a couple organizations. Again, I don't think they were sustained, but that's fine. Having a group of people to play with, to gel with at the time that you're there, I think that's the point of community and networking. So yeah, that was my experience.
Thank you. Yeah, being a part of a startup, I think in any field and in any capacity, I think is such a wonderful learning experience, whether it's someone that you collaborate with on some kind of entrepreneurial project or it's a student org. I mean, it's something learning how to problem solve is probably the number one skill that will benefit you in life, for sure. Okay, what about you, Bianca?
Okay, your question was about my experience with organizations?
Yeah, what kind of experience have you had engaging, on campus, being active on campus, and then what kind of tips do you have for students who might be a little shy, might not be interested, or may not understand the value?
Okay, so I'll start with the fact that I've now been involved in three organizations at an executive board capacity, and as a member, I've been involved in a total of maybe five-ish. So, there's two different sides, really, or in my opinion. There can be like the more fun organizations where you're just involved to engage with community and do a lot of fun activities. And then there can be some who are more on the professional side. And so I've done both. And they can both be fun, but there are a lot of different types of organizations. So, CCE, it was more like fun, community, learning more about the Caribbean, like really engaging with people and networking with others who can relate to your culture. And then I've been involved in other professional organizations. One is a women leadership organization called WTLT. And the other one is NSBE, which is the National Society of Black Engineers. So, the professional side can really help you with your career. Okay. So you can use your experience with the professional organizations to prepare you for like interviews, to give you networking opportunities with companies. Like if you're somebody who's super serious about, getting your career rolling and things like that, especially like after sophomore year, you should definitely involve yourself in some of the professional organizations because they're going to give you all those opportunities you're looking for, the internships and all that stuff. My experience so far has been a super positive one, and it's come with its challenges. But honestly, when they ask you in interviews, like, oh, what challenges have you had? Like now you have an answer to give them because you've gone through the challenges and the problem solving and all of that. So my experience has been super amazing. And the community service I've also been involved in has helped me just stand out when I'm looking for opportunities, and it's helped me serve the Tampa Bay community better. So I would definitely like recommend that you guys join some fun orgs that have the community side, and then professional orgs that can really help you with your major and career.
That's a really good distinction to make, and really good advice. And one thing that I'm not sure that students always realize is that when you join, especially the professional ones, you might be joining something that's just a chapter, which is actually a national organization or an international organization. So it goes way beyond, hanging out at an event on campus. You can end up at a conference. You can end up getting an internship. You can end up building a network that's truly, global. So I highly recommend doing that as well. It's just something that a lot of people don't think about, but it's probably the thing that I see students get the most excited about when they get to go to a conference together or they compete together in something. That's always really exciting. Okay, since you mentioned challenges, Bianca, I'm going to bring that up. I'd like to know from each of you, what would you say your biggest challenge was, particularly in the beginning, but overall, as an international student, as a student from the Caribbean, when you came to USF? You can start, Kian.
Okay. Yes, challenges. It was so long ago. So let me try to think back. Um, so again, coming straight from Jamaica, I I only had my family. And so I didn't have any friends at the time. So I was like, will I make friends? Will people like me? Or will I just be, sitting by myself studying? But then you join the organizations and you realize, oh, everybody else is coming from another country or the same country, because Jamaica had a good student population then. um, and they're all going through the same things. They all left home and are in a new environment, in a new setting, um, and things are different. The US is much bigger, the campus is huge, um, than the small islands that we're used to. Um, and getting around from place to place. I didn't drive, so it was a bit challenging to get groceries and stuff. But at the university, but I was lucky. I had my siblings again who drove, my older siblings. Um, but also on campus, you'll you'll have enough resources there, so you won't need to go off campus as much. And I believe there's a Publix there now, which it wasn't there before during my
That's
time.
right.
You're
There's a
lucky.
Publix, and now groceries are delivered. It's amazing.
Exactly, exactly. So it won't be that much of a challenge for you. Um, but and again, maybe the culture shock too, because it's a more diverse setting. People from different races and different backgrounds are all in. It's like a melting pot at university. And so that I would hope that we look at that as an opportunity to learn from different cultures and be exposed to the differences that we see on campus, and not so much of it as a challenge. um, but yeah, so and really the challenges at first, they just become opportunities. uh, and so I can't again quite pinpoint them each, but I think I did a pretty good job, and so I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Bianca?
Yes, I agree with a lot of the things you said. I kind of just want to build off of it really because I feel like that you covered a lot of it. I think that it's best to, especially when you don't have a car, especially when you're living on campus, like use all of the resources around you. USF does provide a good amount of resources, like the bus can get you further than you might think. And, I did have a meal plan that helps me out because sometimes I didn't have time to cook and things like that. um Use those resources, and I think that whenever it comes to the challenges, it's best to just keep your head up, try to think positively, because sometimes it's going to be annoying when you have to walk from place to place. It's just sometimes it's going to get annoying, but I think sometimes you just have to keep your head up and push on. Push on. And I forgot what else I was going to say. Oh goodness. I forgot what I was going to say. But
That's
yeah,
okay. You
just
can come
use
back
resources.
and let us know if you remember. But these are really great points because I myself have studied abroad, lived abroad, worked abroad, and it's extremely challenging. Even when you speak the language or a dialect of the language, it's very draining. You get tired very easily because you're processing so much information. And sometimes you think, why don't I have any energy? But it's because you're really dealing with a lot more than you even realize. And the main takeaway I want all of you to have from this meeting is that you're not alone. You have a lot of other students who are going through the same thing. You have us at USF World, you have Jana's team, and they're all there to help you to do those little things that you feel like you should know how to do and you should understand, but you don't for whatever reason. That's probably the biggest challenge as an adult to move to another country is that all those easy things they build up, like maybe you don't know how to send something from the post office and at home that's the thing, and a 5-year-old could do it and suddenly you can't do it and you're 20. So those kinds of things Jana can help you with. You're trying to get someplace, Jana's team can help you with that kind of transportation, those kinds of questions. So do not be shy. You're definitely not the only one, and that's one of the reasons that we have this network and our other networks. Jenna, I don't know if you want to throw in the chat the international student team that you have. That is an opportunity for you to connect with other international students on campus, but that team on Teams, it's annoying that it's the same word, but that team on Teams is run by Jana's team. So when you put questions in there, you can get responses from other students and you can get responses from staff who can address any issues if they become, really serious. So you can get advice there as well. So I recommend that you all join that. And I do recommend, I'm going to ask Tatiana to put the link to our LinkedIn group in the chat. That's another opportunity to connect on a totally different level. So Jana's group is going to be where it's at on campus. The global network is your opportunity to connect with people internationally. So we have alumni all over the world, and we designed these global networks to be transnational and to not be geographically based. So even though the focus is the Caribbean region, it doesn't matter where you are because your Caribbean roots and your attachment to USF does not change because you move. And that's something that I felt like with sort of the former way of doing things with alumni associations is you joined a chapter in a city. But then when you move from that city or from that country, you lose all those ties. These global networks, they do the opposite. Every time you move, you're actually expanding the network. So it's also a wonderful way to build connections someplace that you're moving. I mean, we have Caribbean alumni all over the world, in the UK, in France, and if you're looking at an opportunity there, it's a great way for you to make a connection and say, "Hi, I'm thinking of moving to London, and I'm looking at this company. What's it like living there? What was your immigration, journey like?" So those are the types of connections that you can make through the LinkedIn group. You can meet alumni, you can meet students, you can meet partners. Sometimes we partner with other universities or with other organizations around the world. And that's just another way to make a totally different level of international connections, okay? So please consider joining that. And let's see, it's 7, so soon I'm going to want to open up the floor to our new students who are coming in. We really want to hear your questions. If you're too shy to turn your camera on and your microphone on, that's okay. Put your questions in the chat. This is your opportunity to also drop your own contact information if you want to put that in the chat. Connect with our speakers, connect with us, connect with each other. So don't miss out. And while you guys are putting together your questions, I'm going to go ahead and ask another one of my very favorites, which is there something that you wish that you knew back when you started at USF that you know now? You didn't know it then, but is there something you think, man, if I had only known about this or to do this or to try this, I would have had a better experience, or I would have been better prepared for my career, or I would have, any of these scenarios. So is there something that you know now that you wish you would have known when you first came to the university? I'm going to start with you, Bianca, because you very recently came.
Yes, I feel like my freshman and sophomore year, my mindset was just about, continuing with my studies, graduating. But no one really told me about, let's say, all of the opportunities in front of me, or maybe I didn't do the research really. But I feel like maybe my advisors didn't tell me like everything I should be doing within my major, because while you're in college, it's not just about studying and getting your degree, it's about expanding your network, as you said. It depends on what major you're in, but either way, you should always be expanding your network. Specifically to what you want to do is probably best. And I didn't mention this before, but I came in as a biology major and I switched to the technology field, and I'm now in cybersecurity. I forgot to say that. And the reason why I switched is because I came into school in the health field mainly because of my parents' influence, but it was not until I did this coding internship for website development that I realized I wanted to go into technology. So it was like a flip for me, I had to change my major. I had some fall through courses, which is basically like courses that don't matter to my new major. It was a big switch, and I feel like my new advisor didn't tell me like how much I should be doing as a tech major. If you're in technology, engineering, business, like anything related to that, you have to be going out of your way to get internships and network, go to conferences, like any opportunity out there, really. And so I wish I had more guidance with that earlier on when I first switched to the major. And my advice for that is if you don't know where to look, you should really, really research. USF does have a lot of resources. And then, of course, look into LinkedIn. People are always posting opportunities on LinkedIn. And it was not until about a year ago that I really started like finding a lot of opportunities for myself through mentorship and research. That's a good point as well. Having a mentor will get you very far. Having somebody who is where you want to be and who is guiding you can get you to a lot of places. So try to find somebody who you can communicate with every now and then, who can point you in the right direction.
Thank you. That's great advice. I want to throw onto that one tool that you can use is to contact alumni or contact people in the field that you're interested in and say something like, I'd just like to ask you a few questions about your career. This is just like, let's say an informational interview, because when they know you're not looking for a job, you're not looking for an internship, you just have a genuine curiosity and a desire to learn about what they do and how they do it, they're much more open to talking to you about it. And so it's a great way to reach out and say, I'm really interested in this field, and I noticed that you work for this organization that I really respect. Can I talk to you, or can I send you a few questions about your journey? And they're going to be most likely they're going to be excited to talk to you. And then when that job opens up, when that internship opens up, they're going to remember you. They're going to say like, "Oh yeah, this person has been in contact with me for the last 3 years, maybe once a year or whatever it is. Let's see if they want a job." So it's not magic like that, but you have to create opportunities for yourself. And those opportunities arise by being proactive. So, Kayan, you want to tell us about your
I
experience?
don't know. I don't know if I have anything else to add because um that was really like everything. But if I would add something, it would be that not all student advisors are created equal. So I started out as a biomed major, and then I switched to environmental science um, because my biomed major, they were, biomed is a big major, so you have a lot of students to one advisor. And I wasn't as active in seeking out their advice either, so it was on me too. But I had gotten a bit too far into the course, into my courses, and she basically told me, "Hey, one of the courses you did isn't going to add to your major." And I said, "Okay, then what major will it add to? Because I can't waste any courses, I can't waste any money." And so she said, "Okay, this is the major that will take all the courses that you did, and you wouldn't have wasted any course money or time." And so I ended up in an environmental science degree, which was great because I had a great advisor in that program. It was a smaller major, and so I had a great advisor going on then. And so the advice is go to your student advisor. They might be busy. They might, you might slip through the cracks, but go to them, and they have your best interest at heart. Um, and yeah, that was that was it. Also network, network, network. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at networking, but bless those who are, and try to get your networking skill up, because it's a skill and you have to practice it for you to get better at it. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. You can learn. I can tell you that as someone who's, quite introverted, that I do events with hundreds of people and I've learned to just turn it on. It's a skill that you can develop. And don't be don't be too intimidated. You can improve over time. It's not like you're either this kind of person or you're this kind of person. You can learn um,
Also,
to network.
one
Hmm.
more thing. As an international student, internships are out there, job opportunities are out there, but you might not qualify for all the internships or job opportunities. Some of them are specific to US citizens, but that's okay because there are still opportunities out there for you. Don't get discouraged after flipping through all the internships and going to the bottom and seeing if you're eligible or not and finding out that you're not. Just move on to the next one, because an internship is out there. A job position is out there for you, if you're looking to make extra money. Um, and also, I actually, if you look at the person who is guiding or leading the internship, and see if you can talk to them personally, and let them know that, hey, you're interested in this internship, you're interested in this opportunity, and they might be able to do something for you. So just don't give up. That's all.
Yeah, that's really good. Actually, in another one of these send-offs, one of our alumni suggested that even before she came to campus, she started reaching out to a department that she was interested in working with. She was interested in sports marketing. So she contacted the athletics department even before she came here. And then when she got here, she went there to the office in person and said, I'm really interested in this. Do you have any internships? And eventually they did have one that opened up and she got it, which opened a lot of doors for her. But absolutely, being proactive is number one. And in terms of your advisors, I had a situation that I thought that I was going to be graduating, and then I found out I had like two more classes that I was supposed to take. Even though I had met with my advisor, somehow that did not get communicated properly. So I just want to say that you are your best advocate. So nobody cares more about your experience than you. So double check. When someone says no, make sure that they are correct, that it's true that you can't do this or can't do that. Everyone is busy, everyone is overwhelmed, everyone is stressed. So if something doesn't feel right or you feel like you want to look into it some more, don't hesitate. Okay. So just make sure that, everything is in order and that you feel good about whatever it is that you're working on. Okay.
To bounce off that, because something else that one of the other network meetings mentioned was there's lots of times that there's fairs or there's organizations, and I'm sure Bianca has attended one of the ones recently that the people come to campus. You're not going to get the internship or the job at the fair. It's very competitive. They're going to take information. There's going to be a long process for some of those interviews. And so, to the points that they're saying, you have to be proactive. You are your best advocate. And so, you might need to start earlier than you actually are thinking that there is some time for that. And so, that's something to also be aware of, is that it's going to take time and a lot of effort, and you might not qualify for the first one, but then keep looking because again, I've been here for 12 years and I know so many international students, because that's all I've ever worked with, who have literally left USF and gone and got amazing internships all across the US, all across the world, even in countries that are not their home countries, through connections, through the fairs that happen, and just for a lot of different, really random reasons. One of my favorite alumni, I joke that he holds the records for the most recommendation letters I've ever written for one person, is from Trinidad and Tobago. And when he becomes the prime minister or whatever, I want to stay somewhere nice and just be like, you owe me, Rondell. But he works for Deloitte and he travels all over the world now. And it's through the connections he made at USF that he was able to kind of get those opportunities, but then also his own tenacity. Like he chased things up and he followed up with them. So it's one of those things, you're your best advocate. So I guess to that point, do any students have any questions? You guys are really quiet out there, but again, this is your opportunity to ask two really good alumni, like, hey, I kind of have a question. There's no silly questions other than, is this Rocky? Yes, this is Rocky over my shoulder.
Yeah, guys, don't be shy.
That's a good question in the chat. What do you do when you feel homesick?
Oh, good question. Very good. You guys take it away.
Go to a CCE meeting. Go hang around your community. Reminisce about home with them and laugh and have fun. Yeah, so that definitely helped me. It helped stave off homesickness for me while I was there, just being with my team, being with my community, and we can always talk about remember how in Jamaica, blah blah blah. And so it would definitely, that helps. That's it.
When I felt homesick, or like let's say alone, I would just think of the fact that I had people at home that loved me. If I felt like I wasn't making friends, I was like, well, at home I have a best friend, and I just felt like everyone's watching over me, everyone's praying for me. I'm good, I'm loved, and that's all that I really needed at the end of the day.
I think we have. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say the only other one I can think of that a lot of students, when they are homesick and they come to our office, we talk about the resources on campus. But then something else that a lot of them say, they're like, I miss my food. And Tampa Bay has a lot of really good food, and a lot of it is actually pretty good. I've been told. Again, I am not from the Caribbean at all, but they're like, no, that's good food there, or Japanese food, or also all over the world. And so a lot of times they're like, okay, I need my food. My food will make me feel close. And so there's some really good locations. And if you don't know, you ask those groups, you go to those cultural organizations and you say, hey, I want this. I'm missing this from home. Where can I find it? And you probably can.
Yeah, one thing I used to do when I was an international student was even just do meals at home, because that's great because you cook something that you're missing. And the other thing is that ever since COVID, and now we have video calls, I mean, we all had to learn to connect with people virtually. So when you're really homesick, I also think being able to just do a video call with your friends back home, your family, I think that's really helpful. Okay, what else do we have here for questions?
So I mean, I won't say yes, but I'm not also going to say no. It's probably not as authentic as it should be. Bianca, what's your experience in recent times?
The meal plans don't have Caribbean food, unfortunately, on campus. They try to mix it up from time to time. The one I enjoyed the most, the food I enjoyed the most was from the like mini restaurants they have on campus. Instead of like the, what are they called? Just like the regular kitchen. Basically there was a place called, what was it? Flip Kitchen. That's one
Yeah.
of the names of the restaurants. They had the best food. Like they have sandwiches, wraps, and I used to always get the rice bowls. Like that was just my lunch every day, lunch and probably dinner. And they have like restaurants around campus, so that's where I would usually eat. Yeah, for the meal plan.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I would say food is definitely it's a big one there for feeling connected.
Okay, I'm going to ask one question myself, and then we'll go back to the chat. Hopefully, we'll have more questions in there. Um, let's see. When I when I think about my time when I was living abroad, there were so many things I didn't take advantage of, and we talked already about. You just don't even realize, all the things that you could be involved in. But oh, wait, we do have a chat. We do have a question in the chat. Let's go to that. Let's go to that. Tatiana is asking, Bianca, could you talk more about seeking and finding a mentor?
Yes. So basically, a mentor to you, especially as you're going through college, you just need like a mentor who serves whatever purpose you need. Typically, though, a mentor is supposed to be there to help you with your career progression or your college, your major, and just going from, undergraduate student to graduate to whatever the next level is for you. As for me, I stumbled upon my mentor. I went to an event that was called How to Secure an Internship. And I was almost, I was not about to go. And then I ended up going. And he was presenting. And then he brought me up on stage and we did like a little elevator pitch. If you guys don't know what that is, it's like a minute or two that you get to tell others about yourself, to what's it called? Introduce yourself to others professionally. So, it was like a little practice exercise. And then he said, if you guys need help like with your resume, just let me know. Contact me on LinkedIn. So I went out of my way to contact him on LinkedIn. And last summer, he helped me basically transform myself professionally. He helped me with my resume, my LinkedIn, everything. And he's still my mentor to this day. And now I intern at the company where he works. Okay. So, basically, I think that if you don't happen to stumble upon a mentor, you should definitely seek one out. I think when it comes to seeking one out, um, find someone who's where you want to be. Are they an employee at a company where you want to work, and do they have the job description that you want to go after? Are they in your field? And technically, you should really go after people that went to USF. I think USF alumni are like more likely to help out USF students. So I think you guys should reach out to USF alumni who have the job description you're looking for, who have the path you're looking for, and just like message them on LinkedIn or email them, hey, I need help with this. Would you be willing to help me? Tell them a little bit about yourself and see if they'd be open to it. Sometimes a mentor could just be your student advisor, like the one you were assigned with, but you guys are like really, you guys communicate with each other a lot and they make an effort to stay in touch, and all of a sudden you have a mentor, you know? A lot of the time you stumble upon a mentor, but I think you guys should seek one out because they can really help guide you. I hope I answered that question well. If you have any more questions, just let me know.
Kayan, can you jump in here? Did you have a mentor? Do you have a mentor now? And if our current students wanted to approach you about some guidance, maybe not a full-on, mentorship, but just someone that they can look up to and contact you, what do you recommend when they reach out to alumni? How can they do that?
Yeah, I think I did have a mentor at USF, Dr. Connie Mizak. She was the head of the environmental department, and she was one of the main reasons why I switched to environmental science for my major. I was happy to switch to environmental science because um, she taught me, and she was very engaged as a teacher, and she reached out to me like in class, like she saw my potential, and she was like, "Hey, I think you're good at this subject, this major. I think you should, pursue it." And so I do reach out. I should be better at it, but I do like try to send her a message on LinkedIn to let her know where I am and the progress that I'm making throughout my career. Um, and she always responds when I do reach out to her. So it's been, a while. How long has it been? Almost 10 years, and we're still in contact ever so often, uh, me and Dr. Mizak. And so for the rest of my career, similar to Bianca, and I haven't really uh, mastered the art of networking and finding a mentor. Mentors just kind of happen upon me, and so you go into as you level up, as you move from undergrad to your master's degree, the classes get smaller, and you have a more one-to-one interaction with your teachers, and so you're able to build more relationships there as you move up to graduate school. And in your PhD, you get assigned an advisor, and they become your mentor for 4 years. And so my advisor for my PhD, we're still in contact, and he's very much, involved and invested in my career as a PhD. And now my advisor as a postdoc, she is now my mentor, and we are working together. And I'm working on her projects, and she's also giving me leeway to do my own thing. And so that after these, couple years of being a postdoc, I'm able to go out and maintain a career, or have a career, the one that I want after the postdoc. And so again, the stage and where you are, your mentors just kind of show up, and it happens, and you're like, okay, I need to talk to this person, or okay, this person thinks that I'm, good enough to be here, so let me maintain communication with them. And so the other question is, if you'd reach out to me on LinkedIn, of course, reach out to me. I've had people from Zimbabwe, from Nigeria, from all over the world just cold contact me on LinkedIn, and they're like, "Hey, I want to be where you are. Do you have time for so the informational interview that Vanessa mentioned earlier? Do you have time for a 15-minute informational interview?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. If you think I can give you something, I'd like to share what I've gone through and what I've been through." Um, and I've had a few meetings like that, and this was a cold contact from Vanessa as well on LinkedIn. I was like, this is random, but sure, I'll do it. And so there are people out there that you won't get responses back from many people, but for sure, you contact me, I'll give you 15 minutes of my day, of my time, and I'll try to give you as much information as I can. I'm not sure if I'm at the mentorship level just yet, but yeah, I'm available, and definitely people out there better than I am, more advanced in their career than I am. I'd encourage you to reach out to them as well, because I've also cold called and cold emailed some people, and I've gotten some informational interviews too from persons from WHO and PAHO, which is where I want to end up, and they've given me 15 minutes of their time, and I'm appreciative of that. So yeah, reach out. Again, not mentors, but information to hold on to.
Yeah, I would say there's a pretty broad range when it comes to mentorship. From one person, you might get just pure inspiration. From another person, you might get very specific tips and tools that you can use. From another person, you'll get something else, but they're all going to contribute to your growth personally and professionally. Okay, we've got about 5 minutes left, so I'm going to ask all of you on the call. Let's get out of these spotlights. Um, and I know you're very shy, nobody's talking, and your cameras are off, but I am going to make a very special request that you turn your cameras on so that we can get one photograph of this group on the call doing the bull sign, the gold bull sign, I guess you call it. And let's get a screenshot of that. Let's see, let's wait for everybody to pop on. Hello, hello, hello.
And if you don't know how to do it, it's hand up, middle fingers down, thumb in, go Bulls.
Yeah. All right, we still have some shy people. Let's give them a minute. Maybe somebody's putting makeup on or
I was going to say, I'm going to call out
changing their
Aaron. I've been on
shirt.
enough webinars where Aaron's been there, so Aaron can turn on his webinar. There's Aaron. There we go.
There's Nigel. Sherilyn, Claudine, Asha, Ariel. There we go.
Yes. Okay.
All right, I think I can accept this number. Although I prefer everybody would turn them on, but that's okay. All right, everybody, just go ahead and do your go bull sign.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Okay, wait. I got it with the notification. Let me try it. Sorry.
Again?
Yes. I'm really, really sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
1, 2.
Did you get it?
Okay,
She
we got
froze.
it. Yep.
Okay. Okay, thank you all so much for
We got it.
joining. Remember, put your info in the chat. If you're a graduate student, maybe other graduate students are going to want to connect with you. If you're an undergraduate student, you can get some great advice from Bianca. Just don't be shy. Join the Network the Caribbean. We're very open to collaborating with you. Maybe you come to campus and you think, I really want to have this kind of event. Come talk to us because I'm really interested in doing that with you. And if you have questions about, I really want to, connect with someone living in this country or who's also from the Caribbean or working for this company, also very happy to help with that. So thank you very, very much to our two special guests. You guys did an amazing job of giving us all wonderful advice and encouragement. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you guys so much. I loved meeting all of you. So happy to see your faces at the end. I love this experience.
Thanks,
Hey,
guys.
everyone. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see
Goodbye.
you here in Tampa.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.